free to solicit for the highest vote. I am Imo Edit, your host for this morning edition, and we have a lot of the team members led by Abdullah Hassan behind the microphone. For the next 13 hours plus, we will be bringing you live coverages, interviews, and reports minute by minute on the proceedings of today. Well, this is West Africa Democracy Radio, and we are bringing you the elections in Ghana. Please stay tuned. Well, after a journey of prophecies, religious endorsements, huge rallies, tough talk, and lofty promises, the 2024 election reaches the final stage today. The NPP, New Patriotic Party's Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and John Dramani Mahama of the NDC National Democratic Congress tilt the scales heavily in their favor against 10 others on the 2024 presidential ballot as the leading candidates of Ghana's 9th presidential contest, at least by the projections of various polls and surveys. With 18,774,159 registered voters across 276 constituencies casting their ballots in 40,648 polling stations, the fate of the 12 candidates will be decided in Saturday's elections. Well, while Dr. Bawumia seeks to extend the NPP's rule to an unprecedented third straight term, Mr. Mahama could become first to make a successful comeback to the presidency after completing an earlier term. The incumbent Vice President, Mahamudu Bawumia of the ruling Patriotic Party, and John Mahama of the new National Democratic Congress are indeed considered as the two heavyweights in this contest. The decision lies on the voters. Well, Ghana, Africa's largest gold producer, has been going through what some analysts describe as the worst economic crisis in a generation. Inflation, the national debt, the cost of living, and unemployment have all recently risen. Environmental damage caused by illegal mining has also triggered widespread youth protests. We saw that happening in the course of campaigning. Well, the choice for the job of rebuilding the ravaged economy is between candidates from these two political parties. Since multi-party politics resumed in 1992, have each ruled Ghana for 16 years. The new ruling Patriotic Party NPP and the main opposition party New Democratic Congress NDC. And of course, the catch here is the fact that the 66-year-old former President Mahama is returning and hoping to make a comeback. Well, before we continue, let's also look at the profiles of other candidates who are also looking to become the president of Ghana. Well, we'll start with Christian Kwabena Andrews, 59-year-old, and he is a farmer, entrepreneur, and businessman who is not new to Ghanaian politics. A presidential candidate of this party, the Ghana Union Movement, GUM, which he founded in March 2019. Kwabena Andrews is coming back in the race after losing out massively in the 2020 presidential elections against the ruling New Patriotic Party NPP. GUM flag bearer GUM describes himself as the new Kwame Nkrumah and said that the spirit of Nkrumah is back. He hoped to break the duopoly between the NDC and the NPP that dominated Ghana's politics during the Fourth Republic. Christian Kwabena Andrews was born in Duase, Kanyasi, Ashanti region, and attended Ejisu Abankra Elementary School, Ejisuma Senior Secondary School, and Ejisu Atebubu Training College. He is married to Princess Nyako Andrew and has 3 children. Well, Christian Andrews, commonly known as Osofo Kiari Abosom, is a Ghanaian priest and politician. Well, take a listen to him.
I'll give a seed capital to the youth. They are going to enjoy the Freeport things whereby the Burkina people will come in and the Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, they will come and buy Freeport things. If sea is not here, can't we live? Those in Burkina Faso, they don't have sea. We continue to tax people. We should tax our mindset, but not taxing the people. Correcting market tools and the others, I'm going to cancel all. It's not important. We have minerals over here. Look at these people that we have petrol here. We are giving to some people, and our leaders are sitting in their comfortable zone, tenders within their V8. We are going to sit down with them within the 100 days. Those in the oil field, we will sit down with them. Those mining, if the government sign an agreement with them for about 50 years, we are going to cut it off to 20 years. If the percentage given to Ghanaians are maybe 10%, you'll bring it 50-50. If they will take it, good. If they don't take it, I'll send Nima boys and the Northerners to go and beat them up. They should move from the country. We don't need them here. You see, this is our land. Why do we have to do that? No timber exporter again. Me, when I come to power, I'm not going to export any timber again. If you are going to export timber, one single wood will cost you maybe $200. I'll make money by telling the land, grow cash crops. That comes in 3 months. Maize apprentice, garden as apprentice, tomato apprentice. We export them, we get money. You see, American people don't depend on cocoa. They depend on maize. Just last year, they got $9 billion out of maize.
All right, there you have it. The GUM flag bearer, Christian Kwabeno Andrews, commonly known as Sofo Shri Abozon. Well, they say he's a priest and also a politician. Well, representing the Liberal Ghana Party, one of the 13 parties in the 2024 presidential bid, is its founder, Percival Kofi Akpaloo. The seasoned chartered accountant, like some contestants, has contested in previous elections. His first attempt was in 2012 under the Independent People's Party, IPP, which he founded in 2011. During that election, neither he nor his party won any seat. In 2016, he was disqualified from participating in the elections by the Electoral Commission (EC). He contested the case at the court but lost. To gain entry into the 2020 polls, Percival Kofi Akpaloo dissolved the Independent People's Party and created the Liberal Ghana Party. This season, Kofi Akpaloo is making another attempt with little heard or known about his manifesto except for his promise to fight against illegal mining and corruption and improve the living standard of Ghanaians. A look at his academic journey, Akpaloo has an MBA in Strategic Management from the South Bank University and a Master of Arts in Accounting. He also has ACCA in Accounting from Millwolf College, London. Happily married with 6 children, the LPG's candidate administration centers on educational reforms, creating employment opportunities, and revamping Ghana's failing economy. Well, let's take a listen to Percival Kofi Akpaloo.
What we are bringing is very simple. Every child in Ghana will be paid every month 500 cedis as child benefit. And then those who are not working will pay them unemployment benefit or income support. We want to stimulate the economy so that we put more money into the pockets of the people to enable them to buy goods and services, to drive demand. When the demand is going up, definitely those who are producing will require labor to help them to produce more. And this will create jobs and it will create wealth. So the intention is that when we come to government, our main focus is to create jobs and to create wealth. So we are going to set up a $10 billion job fund. That $10 billion job fund, any young person out there who want to go into business, who want to start his own business, will be given a helping hand to get a loan to start that business. We are anticipating that at the end of the 4-year term, we should be able to create 1 million new entrepreneurs here in Ghana. Our motive is to create entrepreneurs and to create jobs.
There you have it, the representative of the Liberal Ghana Party LPG, Percival Kofi Akpaloo, saying there that he will give 10 million, he said, to youth who may want to go into entrepreneurship. Well, Mohamed Rikwan is the flag bearer of the National Democratic Party (NDP). The party was founded in 2012 by Nana Konado Adjei-Amang, a former First Lady of Ghana and wife of late former President Jerry John Rawlings. The NDP, the breakaway party of the largest opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC), promises to the wheels of democracy when elected in the 2024 elections. Frimpong declared that the nation's democracy is running on broken wheels and alleged structural disconnect, especially at the community levels, which he said inhibited development and progress. Mohamed Frimpong, presidential candidate for the National Democratic Party NDP, outlined his vision for Ghana to include a focus on grassroots empowerment and participatory governance. Reflecting on Ghana's democratic journey, Frimpong acknowledged the relative stability the nation enjoys, but stressed the need for structural reforms. He invoked the vision of the late President Jerry John Rawlings, who envisioned a democracy where diverse voices could thrive.
The goals we are setting ourselves is our collective aspirations. We want to be well educated, in other words, human empowerment. I mean, health-wise, education, and then employment. That must be at the reach of every Ghanaian. Of course, the end game is livelihood, a secure and stable economy. So we see the economy as a wrap over whatever we do, and what I call the pulse of the nation. So that one will be worked on every time there's a need to adjust. This adjustment will come from the indices we pick. For instance, if you have data from either the statistical servers or the ministries themselves about what is ongoing. Definitely, I mean, there's always a plan for short, medium, and long term to ensure that at least whatever slippage we may have in terms of the economy not achieving its goals must be corrected. And there'll be avenues. For me, we're going to use a public broadcaster very widely because that is the only area where, I mean, you go to a community and then you interact with people. So livelihoods. Of course, the end game is for us to be secure and stable as a nation. You see, the youth migrate because of a feeling of hopelessness and misdirection in terms of, their future outlook, and so on and so forth. We will embark on a deliberate policy to make sure that at least the youth are incentivized. They must be empowered. They must be a source. And that's why you don't have to come to the urban centers. There must be a link with the MMDAs, because that's where the unit committees are linked up to. That's what we believe in. And unfortunately, we don't see them, because they have also elevated themselves.
All right, Mohamed Frimpong there, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP. Well, our next candidate was born in 1956. Nana Akosua Frimpong Kumankuma is a Ghanaian politician and humanitarian who is the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, CPP. Ms. Sapon, one of the two female contestants, promised several transformative initiatives to be undertaken for Ghanaian society when elected into office. These initiatives include economic empowerment and independence, which promises to give 20 million citizens a share of $20 billion to the owners of the state, reactivation of the Kwame Nkrumah development plan, such as construction of the Akosombo Dam and 400 factories during this period. A mother of three, Nana attended the Fatiman Girls Secondary School in Sapon and the Kumasi Polytechnic, where she obtained a diploma in business studies. She obtained further education at the Washington School for Secretaries, the Montgomery Community College, and the Notre Dame University, all in the U.S. The CPP candidate, while in the U.S., was also an active volunteer in the Obama 2008 campaign. Well, let's take a listen to her.
We have three main policies, three main pillars to start with. One is ethics, equity, and innovation. On this ethics and equity and innovation is about accountability. You and I know the country we are in today. No intention can work for you. Corruption and lack of accountability has eaten the very fabric of our nation, of our nature, of our essence. And that is why ethics is so important for us. Then we talk about equity. 85 to 90% of this nation, including myself, the everyday person, struggles through life without any provision from government. I mean, when I say any provision from government, I'm talking about provision as simple as free SHS. Every child, whether you were born in any condition, you can have access. That is the kind of provision I'm talking about. There is no provision for us. So we are referring here to equity, and that equity means that every Ghanaian listening to my voice, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you were born, from the end of this country, upper west, upper east, it doesn't matter, to the corner of Doma, to Elibu, no matter where, is it through the border of Aflao, as long as you are Ghanaian. And even when you've gone to the diaspora, you would be given 20,000 Ghana cedis. It is called Ghana Bashers. Ghana Bashers simply means this. Every Ghanaian, you will be entitled to a certain amount of money that would be reinvested into making sure that we move ourselves from the informal sector to the formal sector. We believe in state-led economy. We believe that the state itself must be rich.
All right, Nana Akosua Frimpoma Kuma, the Ghanaian politician and humanitarian who is the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, CPP. Well, we move now to our next candidate representing the All People's Congress Party in this year's election. Is Hassan Ayariga, a businessman and politician. Born on September 4, 1971 in Baku, Upper East Region, Ayariga has a track record of leadership and business experience that embodies his passion and unwavering commitment to service. He is currently the chairman and managing director of Hassan Ayariga and Company Haulage and Co-Haulage Company, which specializes in the sale of trucks for infrastructure development. He also owns Hello Pizza, a restaurant chain in Ghana, and recently launched Clean Us Ghana, a waste management company. Hassan Ayariga attended schools in Accra, Baku, and Tamale. He completed his secondary education in Ghana before moving to Nigeria, where he attended Barewa College in Zaria and then the London School of Accountancy. Hassan joined the PNC, a political party founded by Dr. Hila Liman in 1992 when the ban on partisan politics in Ghana was lifted. With a business mindset, Hassan Ayariga's priority is to make Ghana a production state. Well, let's take a listen to Mr. Ayariga.
I know the deficit in every sector with the data. Okay. So it helps me to build a national development plan. Even students, when they're coming out of school, they're no more going to come and become embedded. So with the national data, we now move to national development. Now the national development will now make us turn Ghana into production, manufacturing, and industrial hub. When we turn Ghana, we now begin to produce the food we eat. Turning Ghana into a production and manufacturing means that we have to produce, manufacture, and industrialize. And before we do that, I will come with another policy called one of my biggest policies called the economic lockdown. I will lock down the economy after 1 year when we import all the raw materials, like the way we locked down under pandemic. We are going to now begin to produce as if there's no any other country in this country. Manufacture as if there's no any other country. Industrialize as if there's no any industries in the world. So it is Ghana. So we are locking down our borders. No import, no export, until we build this Ghana to have enough raw materials and food to consume and to export. And before we can do that, what it means is that we are now going to increase our workforce. To increase our workforce, bring me to the 24-hour economy. Right. Now where we have to now run a 24-hour economy, 8 hours for production in the morning, 8 hours manufacturing in the afternoon, 8 hours industrialization in the evening. Thereby running a 3-shift system and Ghana working 24 hours non-stop. Now the next policy is ECG. The companies are producing at a very high cost. And because they are very cost, they can't break even. So prices of goods and services in the market are increasing every day. In order to be able to continue to build this policy, you have to be able to cushion the industries, manufacturing and companies and production companies to produce at a very low cost. In doing that, I will give them duty-free and flat rate.
Indeed, duty-free and flat rate. Hassan Ayariga's priority there. He is the candidate for the All People's Congress Party, APC. Well, as you know, voting started 21 minutes ago across the country, and we have been getting feelers and reports coming in. In the meantime, let's take a pause of profiling and head out to the field as we join Ibrahim Zibrila in Accra. Ibrahim, good morning to you.
Good morning, Imo.
How is the weather there in Accra where you are?
Okay, so everything is very calm at the moment where I am. I am in the Pong-Katamasu constituency, one of the polling units here. You know, the Pong-Katamasu constituency is in the Greater Accra region. It's in the eastern part of the Greater Accra region. It's a very huge constituency. So I'm one of their polling units where I vote myself. So I'm here to monitor the situation and cast my ballot myself. So by the time I came here, queues had already formed and people were already waiting for the electoral officials to arrive with the electoral materials for the elections to start. When I spoke to the first person by name Louisa, who was the first person to arrive in the polling unit here, she told me that she was here as early as 2:30 a.m. and she was here with her husband. So they were the first people to be in the queue. So let me have a word with Louisa. Let me speak with her quickly about the reason why she came here this early.
Okay.
Madam Louisa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Madam Louisa, why did you get up so early to come to this polling station?
I want a change. That's why I came here very early so that I can be the first person to vote and go about my duties.
All right. So, since you came here, what has been the feeling like? It's been very long. It's past 7 and the electoral material just arrived. How have things been?
Oh, as of now, we are all calm and we want to change the government. So we want. Hello?
Ibrahim.
Hello, so that was
Yes.
Madam Louisa there that I was speaking to. So there are a lot of people, about hundreds of people who are gathered here. Elections have not started here in this particular polling unit.
Okay.
The election materials just arrived. It arrived 10 minutes after 7 local time here. That's when the electoral materials arrived. And then the electoral officials are now setting up the electoral materials so that voting can start now. And I came here, I met security officials, about 6 of them, who were around waiting for the electoral materials to come so that election can start. And the parties also have their polling agents here waiting for the elections to start.
Well, have you been able to, aside the madam you spoke with, assess the mood of the people? I mean, the essence of them coming out earlier before the polling session, and also have you been able to find out why these materials arrive late, contrary to what we heard from the EC director himself, Bosman Asari, you know, in several press conferences, that they will ensure that the materials arrive even before 7 o'clock, and at 7 on the dot, voting can start.
So the information we had was that, as I told you, this constituency is very huge, and the track that was responsible for sending the electoral materials to the various polling units was supposed to attend to other polling units before getting here.
Okay.
So that was what was explained to us that caused the delay. They said they had to take care of other polling units around before getting to this particular polling unit, and that's what caused the delay. But the polling agents of the parties that I spoke to are not much worried, because they said if you look at this particular polling station, the voters who are here, by the time the election has started, they are hoping that everyone will be able to cast their ballot by the time polls close at 5 p.m. The numbers here are not that huge to be able to make people not be able to vote when by the time voting will end at 5 p.m. And I am speaking to people also right here about why they came such early to vote. A lot of people still have work to do in town, so they tell me that they just want to come cast their ballot as early as possible and then go back to their respective duties that they'll be doing, and then come back at 5 p.m. to monitor the counting of the ballots.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you so much for the update. We'll be coming to you later on there in Accra as we cross over to Wenchi in Bono region, where Tachi Albert is on standby. Albert, how are you doing? Good morning to you. Hello, Albert. Can you hear me? Tachi, can you hear me? Good morning. Okay, while we wait for Tachi to get back on the line, well, you heard Ibrahim there telling us about the situation in a constituency there in Greater Accra region. And he said hundreds of people are already out and on the queue waiting to vote. Unfortunately, in that part of in that particular constituency, materials arrive late, and we're hoping that in the next couple of minutes they will set up. But let's take more profile as we wait for our correspondent to get back on the line. Well, Kofi Korateng, an independent candidate in the 2024 presidential election, was born on September 6, 1966 in Accra. He first in 2019 announced his candidacy for the 2020 presidential election as an independent candidate. He was unfortunately in October 2020 disqualified by the Electoral Commission due to false signatures. A little on Kofi Korateng's academic pursuit. Now, the independent candidate received his primary education in Accra at Agre Memorial and then in Kumasi at Garrison Primary. He then attended Addis Ababa University in Cape Coast and proceeded to New York University, where he took courses in economics and business. He worked for the United Parcel Service, UPS, and Manhattan Bank, and later as executive head of the Progressive Alliance Movement, a non-partisan lobby group based in the United States. He wants to change the Constitution, end corruption and bad governance, and put an end to illegal mining, galamsey, in the country. Well, let's take a listen to Kofi Korateng.
Nobody has the plan that we have, and that's why we know we're the only ones who are going to be able to change Ghana. Because this is why, for 32 years, I could tell you right now, and if I go down my National Development Plan, not one single item on the National Development Plan has been handled by MPP and DC. Nobody is going to be able to do the things that we are going to do. Like I said, three things. Our mega threesome: change the Constitution. You know, as much as I know, that without a constitutional change, Ghana can never change. You know that, because the Constitution has legalized corruption. And that's why good old galamsey is where it is today, right? This is also to the president. I had the president take a challenge to President Mahama that let's wait for him to come in. He's not going to be able to handle galamsey. Mr. President, listen to me. This is Kofi Korateng. You give me 1 month. 1 month, I will stop galamsey in this country. You could take that challenge or put my neck on a guillotine outside a circle. 1 month, I'll stop galamsey. It's not because we cannot stop galamsey, it's because you don't have the will to stop galamsey, because it's your own people who are in galamsey. Give me 1 month and I'll stop galamsey in this country. Let's talk about how to move Ghana forward. If you're ready to change Ghana, I'm the only one who could change Ghana.
All right, there you have it. Kofi Korateng, one of the independent candidates there. He says, give him a many months and he will stop galamsey. All right, let's cross over now to Wenchi. Tachi Albert is on standby. Tachi, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, how is Wenchi this morning? And are the people already on the queues?
Yes, Wenchi people are ready to vote today as they mark the election of Ghana. So, as at now, I'm one of the police stations, which is New Court House.
Okay.
Wenchi. New Court House, Wenchi. And the number of registered voters are 225.
225.
220. Yes, please. And as at 725, people, a number of people who have voted, who have casted their vote, are 8.
Right, just 8 people to actually have voted. So I've been able to cast their ballot so far.
Yes, number of 8.
So,
and I also visited another police station, Jubilee House, Jubilee Park, Wenchi, Jubilee Park. Number of people who have registered are 375. The time I visited, the number of people who... Okay, I have one of the polling agents here
Okay.
who is going to speak to the people of Senegal. So, Mr. Please, what's your name? Sorry, Jesse.
Hello, how you doing? Good morning to you.
Oh, good morning.
Yes, talk to us. How is the mood like?
Oh, everything is moving on smoothly. Only that we are now calling them from the house to come and vote because the turnout has been very low. As we started, we've had about 22 in the row. We're supposed to at least cast about 391 because some in the register is 370 something. The others transferred their votes from other places to this place. So the total votes in the register supposed to be 391. So we are waiting for them to come and do it.
What do you think could be responsible for this initial low turnout? Or do you think because it is still early and perhaps people are still trying to wake up and prepare to, since it's a full day activity, you think that could be responsible for this?
Yeah, it's apathy. Mostly apathy has set up because we think the various political parties have distributed some things to others which they did not benefit it. So it's apathy. So we are now talking to them to come out and vote.
When you say distribute, what is it that was distributed to them?
That is what they are saying. I personally did not see anything distributed.
Okay. All right. So how about the security situation there?
Everything is intact.
Okay.
We have a policewoman present here, and then the divisional commander and his team has been here. They will come back here, so everything is in order.
All right, indeed. Thank you so much, sir, for talking to us. We'll be coming back to you there with our man, Tachi Albert, in Wenchi, Bono region, for more update. But we'll cross over now to Kumasi. Yes, we're heading now to Kumasi to talk to Hafiz. Hafiz, are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, Ellen.
Hello, Hafiz. How you doing? Hello, Hafiz. Do we still have Hafiz? Hafiz, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Hafiz, if you can hear me, please unmute your line. If you can hear me, Hafiz, unmute your line. I understand that you mute. Yes, unmute yourself. All right. Well, let's go back to profiling. Okay. Are you still there, Hafiz? Okay. Hafiz, are you there? If you can hear me, talk to us. Okay, so let's take one or two profile while we sort this technical issue out. Well, George Twim Barima, yes, he is an independent candidate, born on the 18th of August 1963. He attended Castle Road Methodist Primary School in Adabraka, then Engelbert School and Garrison Primary. He then attended the Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Presec in Legon. After that, he obtained a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations from the College of Art and Sciences at Florida International University in Miami. He then obtained a Master of Arts in International Studies and from the same university. In 1993, he returned to Ghana and began his career with the National Insurance Commission until 2000. In 2001, he joined the private online gaming sector. Beside his professional activities, he is the author of Behavior Brings Success, a book on HIV and AIDS. All right, let's move now. As a major contender in the December 7 elections, current Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, is challenging 11 other candidates for the nation's top job. Dr. Bawumia is a seasoned economist and led several economic reforms in Ghana. Well, let's hear more with Adede Tete.
My own vision and my own priorities. Given the opportunity by you, the people of Ghana, to lead, I shall govern as my own man.
Born on October 7, 1963 in Tamale, Dr. Bawumia is the 12th of his father's 18 children and attended Sakasaka Primary and Tamale Secondary Schools. His academic journey took him to the UK, where he earned a first-class honours degree in economics, followed by a master's degree from Oxford and a PhD from Simon Fraser University in Canada. Dr. Bawumia's career spans academia and financial institutions. He worked as a lecturer in monetary economics at Emil Wolff College of Accountancy and served as an economist at the International Monetary Fund IMF. He was appointed Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana in June 2006, where he played a crucial role in implementing monetary policies that significantly reduced inflation. In politics, Dr. Bawumia first ran as the NPP's vice presidential candidate alongside Nana Akufo-Addo in the 2008 elections. Although they lost, he continued to be in active politics and was renominated for subsequent elections. In 2016, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia ticket succeeded at the polls with a landslide victory, leading to him becoming Ghana's vice president in 2017.
I, Mahamudu Bawumia, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So help me God.
He would go on to serve another 4-year term with President Akufo-Addo. Dr. Bawumia became the face of economic policy throughout Akufo-Addo's presidency as Ghana battled its worst economic crisis in a generation. In November 2023, the governing New Patriotic Party elected the Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as its candidate for the December 2024 presidential elections, teeing up a contest with former President John Mahama. Dr. Bawumia secured his candidacy as an NPP's flag bearer with 61.43% of the votes during the party's primaries, making him the first Muslim to lead a major party in Ghana since 1992, and also the first person outside the dominant Akan-speaking ethnic group to lead the NPP.
We have often been told that the NPP is not our political home. Today, the delegates have demonstrated absolute confidence in us.
On Tuesday, 9th July 2024, he unveiled Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh as his running mate for the 2024 general election in Kumasi. Dr. Bawumia is promising selfless leadership, bold solutions for jobs and business.
My vision, as I have stated, is to create a tent big enough to accommodate every Ghanaian, to tap into the resourcefulness and talents of our people, irrespective of our different ethnic, political, and religious background.
As part of the key promises, should he get the nod to lead the country, is to accelerate Ghana's growth into a world-class digital economy and make Ghana the digital hub in Africa. He is also promising to institute measures to tackle Ghana's fiscal challenges.
We have experienced a major economic crisis, and with your support, weathered the storm. But we are not yet where we want to be. Fiscal discipline and private sector empowerment will be the key to realizing our commitment to job and wealth creation.
The implementation of wide-ranging tax reforms, including the scrapping of the controversial e-levy, is also on his to-do list.
Under my administration, there will be no taxes on digital payments. The e-levy will therefore be abolished.
In education, Dr. Bawumia is promising to, among many others, introduce a free tertiary education scholarship for persons living with disabilities to remove financial barriers to pursuing educational goals. He has also promised to protect the NPP's flagship policy, the Free SHS program, among many others.
This is why we are going to introduce a growth mindset curriculum in our schools to help students build critical skills such as problem solving, risk-taking, opportunity spotting, and design thinking.
With infrastructure development, he says a Bawumia-led government will partner the private sector to finance, build, and rent or lease to own to government public infrastructure, including schools, housing, water, and roads, as well as equipment.
This can reduce government expenditure, increase efficiency and accountability, create competition, and improve maintenance.
Dr. Bawumia is married to Samira Bawumia. They have 4 children. As the elections draw closer, Dr. Bawumia is among the 12 presidential candidates vying for the leadership, with a race largely seen as a contest between him and former President John Dramani Mahama of the National Democratic Congress. As Ghanaians prepare to cast their ballots, the choice will shape the nation's trajectory for years to come.
Ghana needs bold solutions to deal with the challenges we face, and that is what I am offering in asking for the mandate of the Ghanaians.
For WADR, Nadidi Tete, Accra.
All right, that was the profile of the candidate for the New Patriotic Party and the current Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. All right, let's cross over now to Greater Accra region, where Gideon Amana is on standby. Gideon, good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes, how is the fishing community there doing at that West District where you are?
They are doing very well. In fact, this early morning, it's a mixed feeling. Some are glad. Some also say it is an attempt to buy their conscience. For several months, the clean water from their community tap has not flowed until this early morning that it started flowing. And so many have gathered around the community tap rather than queuing for the election to get water. Yeah, so that's what people are feeling in the community there.
Well, very interesting. For our listeners, they're listening to you, if they want to see the video, we have this on our YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, where Gideon sent in the video of people in this fishing community gathering instead of being at the polling centers to vote, but rather fetching water. And like you said, it's a mixed feeling. Why is this tap just running after several months today on election day? Who is in charge here, Gideon?
So the community solely depend on clean water from the Ghana Water Company.
Okay.
But for some reasons that have not been well explained by the water company, sometimes they say it is infrastructure challenge. The systems are not able to pump enough, and looking at the population demand. And so sometimes it comes, but for about 3-4 months in favor of who would be able to provide them clean water sustainably than once a while when it is time for election.
Well, does that mean we're going to see a low turnout, as most people, instead of being at the polling centers, are at the where to get fresh water? Or are they going to be heading back to the polling centers much later in the day? You think this is what will happen?
the coastal communities of Adan West is one of the areas that voter turnout is always appreciable compared to the farming communities. And so early morning like this, that water has flowed for them, it's usually a rush to get some for your children for the day or the months ahead. Apart from that, you need to buy sachet water for your family. And so it is believed that once they get water, they would move back to queue. And like I mentioned, regularly we've monitored and we've identified that the voter turnout for the coastal communities is much better than the farming community. So we hope that this time around they would go out as well and vote. For instance, last year we have about total of the voters in the coastal communities, about 4,000 are expected to cast their vote. About 4,000 are expected to cast their vote. We have 3,800 voting. And so it tells you that chunk majority take pride in performing their national duty to vote as a citizen.
Indeed, have you been able to speak with any of the voters as to what they will be voting for, policy or a person or individual or personality? What are the issues that they think will spur them to want to vote today?
A lot of things have been mentioned. I spoke to a woman who elaborated a number of things, but she spoke vehemently about 4 key things. One of them is the natural resource lagoon, the Songo Lagoon, the largest West Africa salt lagoon in here in Adan, that has been privatized by the ruling government. And so it's one of the reasons they are voting, that they want the resource to be a communal one, that everyone have access to it, than criminalizing people who go into it as it has become a private property. The second thing they mentioned is low stock in the fish in the sea. So to them, for several years, they have enough fish. When their husbands go to fishing, they bring home a lot of fish. But these days, the fish stock has reduced drastically. And to her, she is going to vote based on that. This government has come up with some policies like closed season to allow the fish reborn in the sea. But then to them, that policy has not really garnered the results they are expecting to have a bumper harvest. So that a lot of petroleers, big vessels, have been given license, which in a way are sweeping the sea for them. And so it's making it very difficult to get enough fish when their husbands go. So that's the second thing for her. The third thing is the road infrastructure. Their communities provide fish for the entire district and many other districts in the country, but their road network is very poor. And so she would consider that for 8 years this government has been in power. She says no road has been touched by the government. So she is going to vote based on that as well.
Indeed.
The water crisis thing.
Yeah. Gideon, while you are still on the line, let me quickly bring on board Mr. Musa Dankwa. He is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Mr. Dankwa, thank you so much for joining us on this coverage. Hello, Mr. Dankwa. Hello, Mr. Dankwa, can you hear me? Okay, well, Gideon, if you're still there, what is the state of security? I mean, from your explanation, it seems everywhere is calm.
Exactly, everywhere is calm this morning, and we are hoping security, what we are seeing, continues throughout the day. Where I'm standing currently, there are about 30 voters in queue, but everywhere is very calm. You have the media also present, taking people's views and all around. So it is generally a peaceful beginning for us here in Ghana.
Indeed, many thanks, Gideon, there for bringing us up to speed with happenings in the Greater Accra region, Ada West, to be precise. Thank you, Gideon. We'll be coming back to you shortly. It's 7:51 a.m. If you're just tuning in, this is the live coverage of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. And you've been hearing voices of our correspondent on the field. We've spoken to Ibrahim Zibra in Accra. He brought us update. And of course, he mentioned that materials there arrive late, but hopefully maybe when we reconnect with him again, voting would have commenced. And you also heard Albert speaking to an official, electoral official there, telling us that everything is going fine, but people are not coming out as they should. And they're even going, door to door to knock and tell people come out and vote that the materials have been set. And you also heard Gideon Amana there from Greater Accra region telling us how people are rushing to get fresh water first before even thinking of going to the polling station to vote. Quite interesting there. All right, so let's head back on the line and okay, so we'll take a profile, and then when we come back, we will be going straight. Now, as part of our coverage for the election, we turn to Nana Kwame Bediako, a leader of the New Force movement and an independent candidate in the presidential race. His campaign is built on 12 transformational economic pillars, promising to redefine the country's development trajectory. According to him, the pillars aim at making Ghana the industrial commercial hub in West Africa and across the continent. He believes this will be a game changer for the country. Well, we do have Musa Dankwa on the line, and he's back. Mr. Dankwa, thank you for reconnecting with us, and welcome to this coverage.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you heard Gideon telling us some of the issues that perhaps may spur the people to vote for issues, not personality. What do you think will influence the votings today the more?
I think I agree with them. According to the polls, three main issues are on the mind of voters. One is the economy, two, the job situation, and three, education. So we expect people to prioritize these items when they go to the ballots. Now, when you ask voters to just take a single item as the most priority that they will use to vote for, I mean, overwhelmingly, they pick their current economic condition. So we believe that the economy will play a center stage in today's election.
All right. Well, outside the economy, we've seen Ghana struggling, a slowdown, debt default, environmental crisis. The Galamsey really hit. In the last couple of months, build up to this election, we saw that playing out with several arrests, campaign demonstration restrictions, and all of that. Is this a main issue that candidates should look out for?
I think when it comes to the Galamsey issue, it is localized in terms of the impact it would have. Yes, there were outcry about the environmental impact, but in the polls, it doesn't show up as the most important issue for voters. I think the people are preoccupied with the economy and jobs and the environmental issues. So we don't expect environmental issues to dominate. For some people, it may play a role, but it won't be as huge as the other three factors.
So what will be the other factors?
Is the economy one, jobs number two, three, education, then you have healthcare, you have roads and corruption.
Now, some people have been seeing this scenario playing out like what we saw in the U.S. the vice president, wanting to replace the president, and we're seeing the former president, making a comeback. Are we going to see a replay of what took place in the U.S.?
That is my expectation, and indeed that is what the polls have been saying for the past 2 years. The polls suggest that the former president would win power, and that we don't expect the vice president to win the elections today. That is what at least the polls have been saying for months now.
In other words, you foresee an upset?
Yes. Just like Trump won against Kamala Harris, we expect the same thing to happen here.
Well, do you also know that there could be a winning state, a winning region perhaps, and we understand that Kumasi plays a very crucial role in this election. Do you see that happening in this year's election?
I mean, yes, Kumasi is a critical region for the ruling party. They need to get turnout to be very, very high. They need to win handsomely as well. But Greater Accra is the largest region with the most voters here. And here, they are really struggling in the region. So whatever gain they may make in the Ashanti region, it could be offset by Greater Accra numbers. So Accra and Ashanti will play a very crucial role.
Well, speaking to one of the independent candidates, he said that, his focus was stopping Galamsey, and that's Kofi Korateng. He was asking the president to give him just 1 month, and he'll be able to put a stop to Galamsey. How easy is that?
It's a very serious matter in this country. I think you must have a very holistic policy and ways to deal with it. It creates jobs locally. At the same time, it has environmental consequences. Unless there is a serious overhaul policy of mining sector, I don't think 1 month will be enough to do anything in the sector. It requires a very holistic and all-inclusive approach to address the issue.
Well, we also saw during campaigning, some demonstrators were arrested and some people were jailed. Some are currently going through the trial process. And it seems to have swept things under the carpet in terms of when you want to talk about Galamsey and the issues surrounding it, fresh water, infrastructure, and all of that. Do you see this as a key role? As a matter of fact, what people may consider. I mean, you've talked about corruption, yes. They could also consider about Galamsey and provision of infrastructure as a main pointer for those who may be going to the polls today.
Yes, you see, there are a myriad of issues. It depends on the level of concern for voters. What we are seeing is that there are people in the urban areas and indeed in Accra who are more concerned about environmental issues than the voters in the rural areas. So they have a rural-urban divide when it comes to some of those things. Water is very critical in the urban areas, so they understand the impact of Galamsey on water. So it may influence some votes in the urban areas. The rural areas is not going to be hugely impactful. In terms of infrastructure, they are also, that's cost under roads and stuff like that. So we believe that roads are number 4 item, which will determine people's vote. And those are normally local issues. For people who have very, very, very poor roads, they will take roads into account and then they will use that on the basis to vote. But then when you don't have good issues, then road doesn't become an issue for you. So it depends on where you are and whether roads there are very good or in a very poor state.
All right, Mr. Dankwa, thank you so much for your time, and we'll be getting back to you in the course of this election. Thank you again for your time.
My pleasure.
Well, that was Mr. Musa Dankwa. He's Executive Director, Global Info Analytics there. Well, he was saying that he's expecting an upset in this election, a play out of what we saw in the U.S. election. Well, fingers crossed, and we wait to see how that will be determined by voters. Well, let's cross over now to Accra and join our man, Nadide Tete, who's on standby. Nadide, good morning to you.
Did you say our man?
Yes, our man. In the media, there is no woman.
Good morning, Imo. How are you?
Yeah, we're good here in the studio. And how is the atmosphere where you are?
So I am currently at the Okankwe South polling station, SDA article, polling station 1, 2, and 3. And at the moment, the process is going on very smoothly. It's very calm. People are lined up, waiting patiently to take their turn with regard to the voting. In total, this particular polling station, the expectation is that some 543 people are expected to cast their ballots. I'm yet to get the statistics with regard to how many people have cast their ballots so far, but it's generally been smooth. And it's interesting that just before I came on, you were engaging Musa Dankwa, who has been doing some polling with regard to our elections. Now, this constituency in particular, Okankwe South, happens to be a stronghold of the governing New Patriotic Party. But from Musa Dankwa's polls, he is predicting that this particular constituency is likely to flip to the NDC. There are many people who are wondering whether that can happen because, like I said, it's a stronghold of the NPP. But one thing that is quite notable about this particular election, especially for this constituency, is that the NDC candidate is also very visible. And this is like the very first time that an NDC candidate in this constituency has been that visible and has been vigorous with his campaign. So it waits to be seen whether exactly there will be that upset that Musa Dankwa talks about when it comes to the Okankwe South constituency. But what a trend has been over the years since its creation is that they voted along the NPP lines here in the Okankwe South constituency.
Indeed. Well, he also talked about what may influence people's decision or what they will vote for. Have you been able to speak to anybody as to why and what changes would they be expecting to see?
Okay, so a few people I engaged talked about they wanting development in the constituency. Prior to the election day itself, you'd hear pockets of conversation among constituents talking about the fact that some of them say they have been voting along the lines of the NPP for so long, yet they are not seeing the material benefits for the constituency. So they may consider a change. But then those who are also in line with the NPP say that there's no need for change because they see visible development in the constituency. But one of the overarching things that is going to play a huge role in this election in general is economic issues.
Well, Nadia, did you also see some or any first-time voters there? Because they have really been very loud in the build-up to this election. I mean, you spoke with a couple of them, weeks ago, and we had few also expressing, their interest to really be involved in this election, and even after the elections.
Okay, so from what I have observed so far, from what I am seeing, I'm seeing a lot more older individuals in the queues. I would go further to see if I'd get some first-time voters, but what I'm seeing right now are fairly older people in the queues. They don't look like first-time voters, but there are people who may have never voted, and even though they are old, they are first-time voters. So I probably would explore that.
Indeed. Well, Nadide, thank you for the update. And I wouldn't even want to ask about the security because I know security is calm there. If it wasn't calm, you would have reported that. Yes. Thank you again.
I see two police officers stationed here. Like there's nothing. One of the constituents, they tell me that in this particular constituency, for instance, hardly would you hear instances of chaos or misunderstanding. All they care about is to cast their ballots in peace and go back to their various homes. And indeed, this particular constituency is not noted for violence. It's not a hotspot like some notable constituencies in the Greater Accra region.
Well, Nadide, I would have loved to engage you more, but we have to cross over and talk to our guest who is on standby. But again, we'll come back to you in the course of the coverage. Thank you, Nadide, for your time.
All right, then.
All right. Okay, let's cross over now and speak with Alhaji Inusa Fusaini. He is a former member of Parliament. Alhaji Inusa, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. What is the mood like? You sound very happy to finally see December 7 and be part of this process.
Well, we have been waiting for this day for a very long time. We have traversed the whole country we have traversed the region. I am from the northern region of Ghana. I've traversed the whole region trying to campaign and canvass for votes. It has been a long, drawn campaign and all intended to galvanize the people, mobilize them towards this day. And that's why I'm excited. I'm excited because the day has finally come. And like the cripple says, pick me to see what has passed and know what is coming.
Well,
that's reached me here.
Indeed. Well, as a former member of parliament, what are you expecting in this election? Are you going to see your party, I believe you're still with the NDC, your party carrying the majority, unlike what we saw, 50-50, and it was a problem, in the parliament? Is this going to be very different?
The NDC is probably the only party in Ghana. The other parties are cabals. So the NDC is the only party. I have to still with the NDC. The people are clearly going out to vote. We have done the polls by ourselves. We have engaged experienced pollsters to conduct polls for us. The poll seems to suggest that we will win a one-touch victory. We are confident that the pollsters have done their work well, and so we are assured of victory. In fact, in this conversation for the elections, I have not come across any discussion that seems to suggest that we'll go for a runoff. And majority of the pollsters are all saying that John Dramani Mahama will win between 51 to 54%. Even one pollster put it at 55%.
Well, you seem to be working. Are you going to vote, or you've voted already?
I have a routine, a daily routine. Every morning I have to exercise my body. Mensano in comporo sano, the Greek said, a sound mind in a sound body.
Indeed. Well, your candidates have been talking about a whole lot, including reforming the economy and taking Ghana to the next level. And one of the issues that most people have raised seems to be the issue of infrastructure. Galamsey dominated discourse in the last 6 months. Not that it hasn't been there, but this issue came up after some activists brought up the issue and the impact it was already having on the country. How does it plan to solve this? Because all the candidates are saying within 3 months, within 1 month, they will resolve the issue of Galamsey. Is it that issue to be resolved? Is it that easy?
It's an issue to be resolved. It's easy to resolve, but it's not going to be resolved one time. You need a thought-out policy, a program, coordinated program, to see how you bring an end to this menace. Fortunately, I was Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and I actually initiated the fight against Galamsey upon the directives of the President John Dramani Mahama, and we achieved substantial results. In fact, our opponents criticized what we were doing, and we thought that if they came into power, they will do better than we were doing. Unfortunately, they regressed. They simply left it for all their political appointees and sympathizers to go degrade the environment, to go pollute our water bodies, to compromise the environment, and all those things. So clearly, we have said that there are a lot of factors. There are pull and push factors that are getting people into Galamsey. And if you tackle those push and pull factors, you will be able to deal with the menace. Indeed, those guys who are there digging the ground and polluting our water bodies and cutting down our trees are only workers. The powerful people who are behind these Galamseyers must also be targeted and arrested. And so clearly, the gold, when it is won, is sent to countries. So we need to pursue a relationship with those countries to see which people are bringing the gold, and so that we can come back and ask them where they are getting the gold from. We need to tackle this issue comprehensively, and that's what our president has said. And we look at our manifesto, and we look at the one-stop. Clearly, there are people who have put in applications for mining licenses, which applications have been there for a very long time. And when people put in those applications, and this is from my experience as a Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, they go borrow money to do that. And so when you don't process their licenses expeditiously, they are pushed by the interest that is already accruing on the loans that they have taken to go into legal mining, to go into illegal mining. And so you need to expedite action on the processing of applications for small-scale mining licenses so that you create the incentive for people to follow the law. And so, yes, there is a compromise. That's why in our manifesto, we are talking about a one-stop shop where people who put in licenses will have the Environmental Protection Agency there at the Minerals Commission, will have the Water Resources Commission there at the Minerals Commission, so that you don't have to walk around and put your applications at various places and which operate like silos. So clearly we have a plan. These people did not have a plan.
Indeed. Well, just before I let you go, sir, I mean, as a former MP, what was it like in your time? We've seen a stalemate, stalling governance in this current parliament. And for a couple of days, there was no seating. And this really took a huge impact on the governance of the country. How do you think this will be resolved in the next parliament?
So the MPs are MPs elected by the people to represent them. So when MPs are elected and they go to parliament, they assume a new character as legislators, even though they are keenly aware that they go to party on the support. They go to parliament on the support of their relative parties. Now, what I've seen fail in this particular case is dialogue and consensus building. Now, it is not always the case that you have to resort to another arm of government to resolve issues of parliament. Parliament itself can resolve its issues, but parliamentarians need to engage. And this time, I see it as a failure of leadership, largely on the part of the ruling government, to engage the minority caucus to try to build consensus on how to get off the impasse. Now, more so because it was the majority that triggered this impasse, in the sense that in the 7th Parliament, they invoked Article 97(1)(g) to remove an MP from Parliament. They did it. So they set the precedent. And if you think that the president was wrong or it was for partisan political purposes, you now need to build consensus to see how to move Parliament forward without descending into confusion and chaos. They have failed in that. I believe that this is a learning curve. The 9th Parliament will learn from the mistakes of the 8th Parliament and try to improve on it. It's unfortunate, but that is where we have come to.
Indeed, thank you so much, Alhaji Nusa Hussaini, a former MP, for your time. And of course, in the course of the coverage, we'll be coming back to you for update and also to look at more issues. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's cross over now to, we do have, who's online? Okay, Edwin in the Savannah region is on standby. Edwin, good morning to you. Hello, Edwin. Edwin, can you hear me? All right, so while we wait for Edwin to reconnect, let us take this profile of this independent candidate. Well, as part of his participation, Nana Kwame Bediako happens to be the leader of the New Force movement and an independent candidate in this presidential race. His campaign is built on 12 transformational economic pillars promising to redefine the country's development trajectory. According to him, the pillars aim at making Ghana the industrial commercial hub in the sub-region and across the continent. He believes this will be a game changer to the country's socio-economic fortunes and a speedy vehicle that will shift the Ghanaian economy from a lower middle-income economy to a possible upper-income economy. The 44-year-old independent candidate who occupies the 12th position on the ballot paper seems to be catching base with Ghanaian electorate with his ideologies. Well, Christopher Teacher tells us more about Nana Kwame Bediako, also known as Cheddar or Freedom Jacob Caesar.
It's been one good year that I've been campaigning. I spent my capital, my sweat money, and I spent it not because I want to be a president. It's because of your future. It's because of your tomorrow.
Nana Kwame Bediako, affectionately known as Cheddar or Freedom Jacob Caesar's announcement onto the political scene came as a shock to many, as he is privately known for his philanthropic and entrepreneurial ventures, as well as affluent display of his wealth and flamboyant display of his fashion sense.
I know you got problems with it. You think I got so many names and this and that. But if you have a problem with me, then you should have a problem with Christ too, because he's called Jehovah and he's called other names.
Nana Kwame Bediako's business ventures includes the Qualis Group, which focuses on real estate, finance and property management across West Africa. In Ghana, he is associated with the Wonder World Estate, the Petronia City Project in Takrady, and the New Africa Foundation. On the morning of Wednesday, November 1, 2023, Ghanaians were greeted with a surprising mystery. A masked man in suit and tie prominently featured on giant billboards across all 16 regions. The intriguing inscriptions read, "Leadership for the next generation, #New Force, a new Ghana, a new nation, the new force, embrace the change." As the enigmatic figure captured the nation's attention, social media ignited with curiosity with countless questions and speculations swelling. Who could this masked man be, and what was his message behind the campaign? The buzz was undeniable, leaving Ghanaians eager for answers.
The new force, a new Ghana, a new nation. It's a leadership for the next generation, the new force.
The question remains, who is the name behind the new force, and which people are getting ready to take up Ghana's political space by storm?
Soon, a grand unveiling date was set by the New Africa Foundation, with a convention on January 7, 2024, Ghana's Constitutional Day. The convention would later be cancelled at the 11th hour, following a late notice from the Office of the President revoking an earlier permission given the organizers to use the Independence Square as the venue for the occasion. Renowned African speakers, Professor P.L. Lumumba, Dr. Arikana Chihombori-Kwa from Zimbabwe, and Nigerian politician Peter Obi were assembled to address Ghanaian youth at the rally.
Things that we wanted to experience, it didn't come to pass. What we heard was order from above, so the program has been cancelled, and it's very unfortunate as a young guy, and we are living in a democratic country that we believe in freedom of speech, associations.
I'm told at the last minute the program is not going on. Why? Why is the program not going on?
I think it's a sad day for Ghana. Honestly, I'm so sad. I'm so disappointed because I think it's a disgrace to Ghana.
Despite the last-minute hitch, Nana Kwame Bediako used the occasion to announce and launch himself as the man behind the mask and leader of the new force.
I know you're looking for the man, and the man in the mask is sitting in front of you.
He would later launch his 12 pillars of economic freedom manifesto, where he unveiled an ambitious plan to ensure a 16 regional industrial revolution to harness the country's abundant natural resources and agricultural potential. He explains that establishing one industrial plant for minerals and one for agro-processing in each region will be the game changer for Ghana's socio-economic development.
We are determined to bring out every region's wealth. We have searched every region inside out and realized what sort of wealth that can be created there and projected it in the next 10 years. Ghana will have an economic output at 4.7 trillion with 13 million hectares of arable land and all these minerals. We will also create 8 million jobs in a decade.
Going into the elections 2024, the man on the number 12 ballot position has combed through all the 16 regions, preaching his message alongside his running mate, Mariam Isaka Krese.
The new force with the 12 pillars, 12 ministries, 12 policies, and number 12 on the ballot is apostolic. This is divine.
While Ghanaians are yearning for a third force to break the dual rule of NPP and NDC in the Fourth Republic, will Nana Kwame Bediako be that force in Ghana's politics? The outcome, I wait for us all to see.
There you have it, a spotlight there on Nana Kwame Bediako, leader of the new force movement and also an independent candidate in this presidential race. Well, I remember while we were in Ghana, we saw his billboard with the mask, and we were asking what's going on in Ghana. Who's the what's it called now? The superhero that is coming to town. Only to discover that it was his own way of introducing himself, Nana Kwame Bediako there. All right, interesting. All right, so let's cross over now to Savannah region. We seem to be having a cellular call issue in that particular region. Let's hope we'll be able to get through to Edwin. Edwin, are you there? Can you hear me? Good morning.
Good morning, Imo. Yeah.
All right.
I can hear you loud and clear now.
It seems better. Tell us what's going on there in Savannah region.
Thank you so much for the opportunity here in Savannah region, specifically Damango to be precise, one of the hometowns of the former president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, but he'll be casting his votes in another district, that is Bole district, that is a little bit far from this place though. So far, voting is ongoing here smoothly and peacefully. People are coming out gradually. Currently, I am located at the Cathedral polling station in Damango, inside the heart of Damango, in between the bishop residence and the cathedral. And I must say that emphatically that the Damango bishop has come to cast his votes. And upon casting his votes, he gave a little bit of speech concerning peace. He entreated everyone, or he called on everyone to come out in their numbers to come and vote peacefully and go back to their various homes. And let's have in mind that we are having one Ghana, and we should always try to maintain it. So far, at the Cathedral polling station, the number of people that are expected to cast their votes are 270. That is not quite huge. And I think if the people are coming out in their numbers, getting to 5 p.m., everybody or everything will be done over here. And so far, I think 40 plus has casted their votes so far. And the number is not all that huge on the queue there, but their ongoing process. The process is ongoing smoothly. So far, the only challenge that I want to ask and they gave me was the fingerprint verification. They were having some challenges on some 3 people that were not able to verify through their fingerprints, but they were able to do the facial verification and they were able to cast their vote successfully. So, Imo, this is a brief report that I can give from the cathedral in Damango, in the heart of Damango.
Well, Edwin, thank you for that. Well, were you also able to speak with some of the voters as to assess their mood and their thought and what they have behind their minds going into this elections?
Not much. I only spoke to the bishop of the Damango diocese, and I'm here to interact with the voters. And your call came in, but I can still get some few members for you to interact with, or for me to interact with them if time will be there for us.
Well, if you have any, why not?
All right. So I just let me contact this person. I have one with me who would like to. So, Mr. Ima, you're live on West Africa Democracy Radio, Senegal. Want to know, you are here to vote or you voted already?
I'm here to vote.
You're here to vote?
Yeah.
So what are you looking up to?
Very smooth and fair elections so that we can have peace at the end of the day.
Yeah. So are you trying in the process of voting?
Yeah,
what are you looking at? What is your main focus?
Oh, well, with my main focus going to this election is the best party wins. That is it. And then I want to go through to have a smooth process where I will not be facing difficulties. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Okay. Your name again?
I'm Emmanuel Amponza.
All right. So, Imo, that's Emmanuel Aponsa. He's not trying to be specific, but he's just saying that he's hoping for a peaceful election.
Indeed. Edwin, thank you so much for the update. We'll be coming to you much later on. Let's cross over now to Ashanti region, where Afis Tijani is on standby. Afis, good morning. I hope the line will allow us to talk. Afis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Better. Good morning. What's the situation there?
Okay, so we've been monitoring various constituencies in the Ashanti region. So in the morning, even before the cock crowed, people had queued in their numbers at the various polling centers to vote. You know, the Ashanti region has the largest polling stations and also the largest constituencies. So you are talking about the 47 constituencies in the Ashanti region, and people in the Ashanti region, or the Ashanti region is also the stronghold, one of the stronghold regions of the ruling New Patriotic Party. So people turned out so massively in their numbers to these centers as early as 3 a.m. today. And they, especially the elderly who had joined the queue, most of them wanted to vote and go back to their various activities, daily activities. Others are saying that they want to vote early because they don't want the time to enter into midday, where the process will be slow and maybe they are not able to join long queues to vote. So coming in early to vote is safe for them so that they can vote early and go back. There have not been any issue with regards to the ballot material so far, but the electoral officials arrived early with the ballot materials, and the voting started at exactly 7 a.m., the voting time, the normal voting time, at most of the centers. We just witnessed a while ago the voting process of the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. He went to his home constituency. You know, he's been a member of parliament for that area for about 2 decades, and he went there to vote. Today, he was welcomed by the constituents, who, of course, most of them are members of his party, who showed him some love, but he was calm in his demeanor and so confident, except that he wouldn't want to share a word with the press after casting his ballot. But all in all, he was able to cast his ballot, and the spokesperson was so optimistic that the New Patriotic Party was ready for today's election.
Well, Afis, you talked about, you mentioned something that caught my attention, the fact that some elderly people were already out as early as 3 a.m. to wait for this polling station to be set up. Does it mean that the mood is that people want to get done with this election? Why that early rise?
Well, for many, if they wait into maybe the morning, like 9 a.m., sometimes people are now coming in to vote. You know, some go to open their businesses, especially most of them in the informal sector, would want to go and open their businesses and return to the various polling centers to vote. And others who are in the formal sector, you know, today is Saturday, so you don't have people going to work. So the expectation is that if people in the informal sector will also be crowding with people who are not going to work and are in the formal sector, the numbers are going to go up and people will not be able to vote as early as they want. So voting early for some people is something they want to do because they don't want the process to they don't want to join long queues to vote. They want to vote early while the queues are still young and they can go and continue with their activities. But the elderly were dominating the numbers because of their conditions and also because they want to be served early and just retire home.
That's quite interesting. Well, have you been able to sample the thought? Because we know this election actually is for the people to decide who will be their next leader. What do you think? I mean, from some of the people you have spoken to, converse with, what have been that concern really that they want to see, change in the next administration or the next government?
Well, so the issues have been varying. You have varying concerns or issues by electorate expressing. Some are talking about the economic situation. Some are talking about the economy. Others are also talking about the illegal mining activities. Although people are commending some initiatives or policies of the government, like the free senior high school policy the government introduced in the second cycle institution, and also the free dialysis program recently introduced by the government, and the road infrastructure improvements being done recently, and the tenure of this government or this administration. But people want to see that what the water bodies that are being polluted are addressed, issues that are creating the pollution of these water bodies, talk of the illegal mining activities are addressed. People are also talking about the stability in the exchange rates, the currency of the country. They say there has been an issue with the currency, and because the currency is not so stable, it's not easy for businesses to strive. So that's a general concern you get, especially from the traders and also businesses who operate, and even people who are into importation of goods into the country to also sell. So that's a general conversation, but the top priority for people is the economy.
Indeed. Well, Hafiz, thank you so much for the update, and it's quite interesting to know that this concerns vary according to what the people want. Thank you. We'll be coming to you much later on in the coverage for more update.
Thank you.
Indeed. All right. Well, if you're just tuning in, this is the live coverage of the 2024 presidential elections in Ghana, and we want to thank our listeners on Newme FM in the Gambia for joining us live on this broadcast. Well, we do have on the line Mr. Fifi Boafoe is the spokesperson for the New Patriotic Party, joining us this morning on the coverage. Good morning, sir, and thank you for your time.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Indeed, I know that the last time we spoke, you were very positive about what the outcome of this election will be. Is that still the spirit?
Precisely so. We are very optimistic. We've sold a message of possibility, the message of hope, a message of Ghanaians advancing or upgrading from where we are to the public. Our expectation is that Ghanaians have bought in, and they will surely come out today to vote and to show that, yes, indeed, they prefer to upgrade as a people.
Well, do you think your government deserves another term?
Precisely. I do have no doubt as to whether or not the government deserves another term.
Well, some of the issues we have heard, speaking with people, not just in Ghana there, but Ghanaians.
Government compared. Yes, sorry, but I believe for three reasons. If you compare the performance of the government as against the opposition party, which has a former president running on its ticket, we have outperformed that government. Two, if you look at the credibility of the people who are contesting, I'm referring to our candidate and the candidate of the opposition party. Our candidate has a better credibility than he presents. And three, if you look at the vision of our candidate as against the vision of the opposing party's candidate, we have a better vision compared to what they present. And for this reason, I believe that certainly the Ghanaian will prefer a better option than the one who has been given the mandate to rule us in the past, performed abysmally, and now coming back to say that give me opportunity to correct my wrongs. Sorry, this is not a reseat exam.
Yeah, indeed. Well, are you concerned about some of the polls that were released prior to this election? And most of them have tilted towards, in favor of your opposition, the NDC candidate. Are you worried about these polls?
What I would say is that some of the polls, yes, are completely wrong. Some of the polls also give us an indication that there are things to work on. Of course, some of the polls have also predicted victory in our favor. I do not think that there's any reason for us to wish them away. But then I also believe that what is important for us to do as a party is to work on them. And that's precisely what we have done. And we are very optimistic of victory today.
Indeed. Well, what are some of the first issues that let's say in the first 60 days, your candidate will tackle once he gets in?
Our candidate has been the vice president, and he has performed creditably well. He is one who has championed a lot of initiatives that have seen growth in our country. He is not new to the governance of this country. He is already at the table and understand the issues. Certainly, he's going to put his team together, and then the team will start working immediately.
Well, you are, just before I let you go, sir, you are you're the spokesperson for the Ghana Cocoa Board, and of late there have been some issues in that sector. Are there plans to get that up and running and become a major player in this sector?
Well, I would say that I am on leave now. I took leave to do this work. Okay. And I believe that Ghana Cocoa Board is in good shape at the moment. In very initiatives that were put in place have started yielding results. And I'm optimistic that the board going forward will be doing fantastically well.
Mr. Fifi, thank you so much for your time. And we will be talking to you in the course of this coverage. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
All right, just as we drive home this first edition, let's take the profile of the one they call the man Alan. Alan Kyere Martin is a renowned Ghanaian statesman with a rich career in international trade, public policy, enterprise development, politics, diplomacy, and law. He was born on October 3, 1955 in Kumasi, Ghana, to Dr. Alexander Atayo Kyere Martin and Mrs. Victoria Kyere Martin Nee Well Singh. Alan's secondary education was completed at Adisabel College and at Chimota School of Cape Coast and Accra, respectively. He then pursued a degree in economics at the University of Ghana and qualified as a barrister at law from the Ghana Law School. Let's hear from the one they call the man Alan, what he is bringing on board.
I came here with Alan Kyere Martin because he's the man who is going to be the Minister for Industry and Trade.
That was outgoing Ghana President Nana Akufo-Addo introducing Alan Kyere Martin as an integral member of his government after his first election as president in 2016, in what was the beginning of a bittersweet relationship between the two veteran politicians carved out of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP. And for Alan, the job of a president is one he believed should have been his to go for until he had to give it up for Akufo-Addo after their party elders impressed on him too. The agreement was that after Akufo-Addo's turn, he would be next. But that never happened, leading him to permanently cut ties with the NPP to form what is now known as a Movement for Change, popularly known as Afafranto.
Under the circumstances, and given the context provided, I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect from the New Patriotic Party of the President to contest for the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana in the 2024 general elections as an independent presidential candidate.
With the youth at the heart of his campaign and a genuine love for marketplace campaigns because he believes there cannot be fake reactions from there, Alan Kyere Martin wants to, among other things, amend the constitution for longer tenures for president.
We will amend Article 66(1) to extend the term of office of the President of the Republic from 4 years to 5 years and be eligible for re-election for a second term. But under this arrangement, no person shall have the right to be elected as president for more than 2 terms.
With his comprehensive blueprint for the presidency, known as the Great Transformation Plan, Alan, with his dominant yellow and black party colors, has crisscrossed the country, selling his message of change and giving hope that he can be the next new political force for the country. The movement for change, led by Alan Kwejo Kyerematen, touts itself as a political organization established to inspire and lead the process to change and transform Ghana into a prosperous, united, and peaceful nation. Alan Kyerematen is a graduate in economics from the University of Ghana and is also a qualified barrister at law from the Ghana School of Law. In addition, he is a Hubert Humphrey Fellow of the School of Public Affairs and the School of Management of the University of Minnesota, USA, under the U.S. Fulbright Fellowship Program. His secondary school alma maters are Adesade College and Achimota School of Cape Coast and Accra, respectively. In 1994, Mr. Kyerematen was listed as one of the top 100 global leaders for the new millennium by the Time International magazine, together with other personalities such as Bill Gates and John F. Kennedy Jr. of the United States of America. In 2013, he was nominated by the heads of states of the African Union to contest as Africa's candidate for the position of Director General of the World Trade Organization, WTO. Will Alan Kyerematen become Ghana's first independent presidential candidate? The polls will tell.
Well, that's a very big question. The polls will tell. 18 million people will decide if Alan Kyerematen will become their next president. Well, John Dramani Mahama is not new, and he's among the 12 candidates vying for the presidency. Having served as president from 2012 to 2016, Mahama is once again on the ballot representing the National Democratic Congress, NDC. This profile explores his background, political journey, and the key policies he is campaigning on as he seeks another term in office. Well, let's hear Nadide Tete with this.
In building the Ghana we want together, we will need you, every Ghanaian, including the disappointed MPP members who are appalled by the arrogance and truthfulness, mismanagement, corruption, and
John Dramani Mahama, former president of Ghana and the NDC presidential candidate, was born on November 29, 1958 in Damongo, the then capital of the West Gonja district of the Northern Region. He is a son of Emmanuel Adama Mahama, who served as the West Gonja constituency MP and the first regional commissioner of the Northern Region under Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. John Mahama attended Achimota Basic School before continuing at the Ghana Secondary School in Tamale. He earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in history in 1981. Following political instability, he fled to Nigeria, where his father lived in exile, but returned to Ghana in 1983. Mahama pursued postgraduate studies in communication at the University of Ghana and later earned a degree in social psychology from the Institute of Social Sciences in Moscow in 1988. From 1991 to 1995, John Mahama served as an information officer at the Japanese Embassy in Ghana. He then joined Plan International as a sponsorship and grants manager from 1995 to 1996. In 1996, John Mahama entered Ghanaian politics, representing the Bole Bamboy constituency in Parliament under the National Democratic Congress, NDC. He was re-elected in 2000 and in 2004. During his time, he held key roles including Deputy Minister and later Minister for Communications from 1997 to 2001. From 2001 to 2008, he served as the minority spokesperson on communications. In 2008, Mahama partnered with the late Professor John Evans Atta Mills, becoming Vice President of Ghana on January 7, 2009. Following Professor Mills's death on July 24, 2012, Mahama assumed the presidency, becoming the first Ghanaian leader to have served at all levels of political office.
This is the saddest day in our nation's history. Tears have engulfed our nation and we are deeply saddened and distraught. I never imagined that one day I would address our nation in such difficult circumstances. I'm personally devastated. I've lost a father, I've lost a friend, I've lost a mentor and a senior comrade. Ghana is united in grief at this time for our departed president.
5 months later, President John Dramani Mahama won a new term with 50.7% of ballots cast in the West African states election. During his presidency, Ghana's ranking in press freedom improved from 41st in 2012 to 26th in 2017. Unemployment fell from 3.6% in 2012 to 2.3% in 2016, while inequality metrics such as education inequality also improved. However, his tenure was overshadowed by frequent power outages, popularly known as Dumso, that became a significant challenge. It would eventually contribute to his loss in 2016.
As I've said before, I'll allow history to be the judge of how I have served my nation. I have done my best, giving my all, and done so with the best of intentions for my God and my country.
On April 24, 2024, Mr. Mahama unveiled Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as his running mate. She previously contested the 2020 elections in the same portfolio and remains the first woman selected as a vice presidential candidate for a major political party. If elected, she would become Ghana's first female vice president. Mr. Mahama has outlined several key policies for his 2024 campaign. On the economy, he has pledged to implement a 24-hour economy with 3 shifts to maximize productivity.
This is the 24-hour economic clock. 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people. 1, 3, 3.
In governance, John Mahama has pledged to lead the leanest but most efficient government of the Fourth Republic, appointing no more than 60 ministers and deputy ministers to cut down on government expenditure. In the health sector, Mahama plans to, among others, establish the Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund, also known as Mahama Cares, to support the treatment costs of chronic illnesses, including kidney failure, cancer, sickle cell disease, diabetes, hypertension, and heart diseases.
We'll also introduce the community pharmacy concept, and that will encourage people to go to your local pharmacy and go have your blood pressure taken and your sugar checked, so that if you have diabetes or high blood pressure, we're able to know early so that you can get treatment and be able to survive.
In education, he has promised to improve the free SHS program by introducing a dedicated and sustainable funding source. John Mahama has been married to Lodina Mahama for 32 years and they have 5 children. Outside politics, he is an accomplished author. His book, My First Coup d'etat and Other True Stories from the Last Decades of Africa, reflects on his life and the 1966 coup that ousted Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Having lost the elections in 2016 and 2020, Mahama is campaigning on a platform of experience and renewal, pledging to address economic challenges, stabilize the energy sector, and promote social equality.
You have chosen experience with vision over experiment. And I'm confident that in December 2024, Ghanaians will make that choice that puts us back on the path of building the Ghana we want together.
John Dramani Mahama is one of 12 candidates contesting the 2024 presidential elections in Ghana, which is expected to be a close race between him and the NPP's Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. For WADR, Nadidi Teti, Accra.
All right, there you have it, the profile of the National Democratic Congress candidate, Dr. John Dramani Mahama. All right, this is where we'll be taking our first major break and allow our French colleague to take over the microphone at 10 a.m. We'll be back at the midday to continue with the second edition. That's in the next 10 minutes, rather. Our colleagues from the French service, 9 a.m. will be here, led by Isulu Jeju and Sani Mumuni Seibo. In the meantime, thank you so much for your time, and do join us again. I am Imo Edet.
2024